cut short, because we already understand that prior to the pandemic, there was already a huge gap with regards to the access of education for both women and girls. So we are happy that we jumped up on this campaign, and that we've been working together with youth activists and student leaders for the past few months to ensure that we are able to secure the education of women and girls across the continent, both during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. So before I say anything else, I want to say that I bring you warm greetings once again from the All Africa Student Union and from the Secretary General of the All Africa Student Union, His Excellency Peter Kwesi, who would have sincerely loved to have been with us, but due to other equally important engagement, he had to attend to them also. I would want to once again bring his sincere gratitude to all of the activists, both youth activists and student activists, who have played a very, very important role to ensure that we are able to achieve the targets and demands of the campaign. Obviously, this would have been impossible without the efforts that you have been able to put in amidst all the challenges that COVID had brought to us. It is quite impressive to know that even amidst all the challenges that you faced, you still went ahead to put in your maximum efforts to ensure that we are able to achieve the demands and the targets that we set for ourselves. So for the past few months, as we have already been indicated, we've been working together with UNESCO and then the 100 million campaign, and then the amazing number of youth activists and student activists that have signed on to lead the efforts on this campaign. So once again, I'd want to say that you should be proud of yourselves for being the first cohort of this campaign and for providing the necessary leadership that we needed on this campaign to ensure that at least we are able to put in some efforts, both by taking direct actions and by also asking our country leaders, our community leaders to commit to ensuring that the education of girls and women are not cut short as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we are hopeful that in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are able to ensure an education recovery that is human-centered and that prioritizes the development, the education of women and girls across the continent. Once again, I bring you hearty. I congratulate you for the great job done on this campaign, and I wish you well in the next steps. Thank you so much, Helder, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for that remarks. Indeed, they have done well, and indeed, we would not have been able to come this far without their efforts. So I join my colleague Adontin to once again wish you all a very big congratulations on the success of your campaign. So next on my item, I see we have an appreciation speech for the Secretary for Gender and International Relations of ASU, who is in the person of Miss Angel Mbutia. But I think that Miss Angel Mbutia is not with us right now. So I'm gonna skip this item, and once she gets back on, I'll give her the opportunity to speak to you all as well. And so for now, we'll skip to the next item, which is videos of beneficiaries and pictures from the campaign we have received and collated so far. You have all done tremendously well. So we have compiled the videos and pictures you sent to us from your various campaigns from different countries. And so if the IT team are ready, we would like to. Okay, so while we also wait for the IT team, I'm told they are also getting ready So while we wait for them, I know we are going to have some coordinators giving us their experiences, sharing with us their experiences, sharing with us their challenges and the efforts they've put together in their campaigns from 5 different countries. And so if my IT team are not ready, I would like to invite these coordinators on board to give us their experiences. And the first person I'm going to call is Linda from Uganda. Linda was featured in UNESCO's report some few days ago, shared on your platforms. We see that she has contributed tremendously towards this campaign. And Linda, if you are online and you can hear me, I would like to call on you to give us your remarks with regards to the campaign. So Linda, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that's amazing. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Linda, and I'm the Girls Back to School Campaign Lead Coordinator for Uganda. I would like to take this opportunity to thank UNESCO 100 Million Campaign, the All Africa Students Union for championing the protection and promotion of the rights of children and young people, specifically the right to education for girls globally, evident through the Girls Back to School Campaign. Now in Uganda, the Girls Back to School Campaign has been running in 2 districts, Kamuli, located in the eastern part of the country, and Isingiro, specifically in the refugee settlement of Nakivale and in the host community. The campaign was run by Raising Teenagers Uganda, an NGO working to keep girls in school as a way to end child marriages. Through this partnership, the campaign was able to provide menstrual products to 100 girls, design and disseminate IEC materials and messages on girls' education in the community, reaching 500 people, conduct 4 school outreaches, 6 community dialogues, door-to-door sensitization meetings with 100 parents on the importance of girl-child education, to mention but a few. The campaign achieved tremendously in regards to supporting girls that were pregnant in candidate classes to be retained in school, register, and sit for their final exams, empowered girls to demand for their right to education through letter writing to their respective leaders demanding action. This intervention saw the Speaker of Parliament then, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, provide over 6,000 sanitary pads to school-going girls in Kamuli district to enable them menstruate safely and continue learning while on their periods. The campaign supported one girl named Susan, not real names, who was pregnant to return to school. Susan delivered during the examinations period, completed her ordinary level education and excelled. Whereas the campaign achieved its intended goal, it should be noted that period poverty, negative cultural beliefs and attitudes on girl-child education in Uganda still remain a big hindrance. In addition, sexual gender-based violence continues to not only affect the education of girls, but their general well-being. Addressing these challenges requires a multi-sectoral approach. Integration of sexual reproductive health rights in the education systems, continued sensitization of communities on the importance of educating girls, and taking action by all stakeholders to end all forms of violence against girls. Where we learned some lessons during the implementation of this campaign, and some of these are through collaboration with the district leadership, cultural, local, and religious leaders, the messages on girl-child education were able to reach more people in the community, but most importantly, we learned the importance of building synergies with government and local structures and the critical role institutions play in accelerating progress for girl-child education at community and country level. In our active role, in our active and meaningful involvement of girls in all campaign activities, we learned the power of centering girls' voices in decision-making and implementation and how this directly causes transformative change. A key lesson that partnership with girls still remains the most powerful tool for change because girls know their problems and how best this can be addressed. We also learned that advocacy takes different forms: storytelling, letter writing, speaking up, to mention but a few, and we saw girls write letters for change. Partnership with media on the campaign brought attention to the issues of child marriages, teenage pregnancies, and other injustices and barriers that are keeping girls behind. As a result, this influenced policy reviews, discussions, and action. This reminded us the key role media plays in highlighting social injustices and making different stakeholders to account. Finally, we learned that youth inclusion is key in causing meaningful change and in achieving Agenda 2030, and that sustainable education systems require not only good education policies and resources, but the will to take action and be accountable. Many girls that are pregnant and those that have given birth may want to return to school and continue learning. However, the situation of school closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic may not make it possible for them. It is therefore important for development partners to support young girls who have become victims of teenage pregnancies to continue with their education through direct education sponsorship. In conclusion, I call upon the government of Uganda to fund education and match its educational policies with political will and action. For change is not derived from speaking, but in taking deliberate action. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. We are very proud of you. And before I move to the next coordinator to take from them their experiences and challenges from this campaign, I would like us all to welcome our UNESCO representative, Ms. McOmish. Before the next coordinator gives their presentation, I would like to call upon you to give us your remarks. So if you can hear me, the floor.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud
and you can see me
You're
properly?
welcome.
Wonderful.
Yes, I can see you.
Thank you so much for
background.
Great. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak, and good afternoon to all of the wonderful AASU activists who are here today. So I'm really thrilled to have the opportunity to address such an active and dedicated group of young people. Your drive, energy, and commitment are infectious. I mean, the moment that I got on this meeting, I felt excited to be here. So as was mentioned, I'm speaking to you from the Paris headquarters of UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, as I think you all know. Organizations such as the AASU are particularly special to us. We believe that education is the greatest tool we have to empower. It unlocks the doors to opportunity, and it acts as a weapon against disinformation, bigotry, and intolerance. Educated and active young people like yourselves transform their own lives, but also sow the seeds to transform the lives of their family, their community, and across the world. Young people in Africa have been fighting for their right to education since before UNESCO was founded in the aftermath of the Second World War in 1945, a long time ago. There is much to celebrate. There's been enormous progress in reaching the target of universal primary education, and progress is also strong towards secondary education, of course, with variations across the continent. But I don't need to tell you that the job is far from done. Of all regions, sub-Saharan Africa, as I'm sure you know, has the highest rates of education exclusion. Between ages 6 and 11, over 1/5 of children are still out of school. By ages 15 to 17, about 60% of young people are out of school. I mean, that's almost the same age as I think some of you watching today, so it's very scary. Even when young children and young people are in education, learning outcomes are often low, with 90% of enrolled girls and 85% of enrolled boys, so the overwhelming majority, not meeting the minimum proficiency levels in reading by the time they are of age to complete primary education. Without urgent action, the situation will likely get worse as the region is facing growing demand for education due to a high birth rate. I don't need to tell you all of this. You are far more familiar than me with what this means to people's lives and the lives of their families on a daily basis. But just to complicate things more, your generation has lived and is continuing to live through a period of disruption and turbulence, which is quite unlike anything that's come before. The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken up education globally. Across the world, there are more than 1.5 billion, that's billion, children and young people who have been affected by the closure of their school or university. And despite the efforts of education institutions around the world, many of your peers were unable to participate in remote learning because they lacked regular access to a computer or a smartphone, or because when schools closed, they had to take care of their siblings, sick parents, because their family's loss of income forced them to abandon their studies and join the labor market or into child marriage. Many of them will never return to school, and I think you all know the figures. UNESCO estimates that 11 million girls will drop out of education permanently, many of them in Africa. So the question is, what can we do? So when schools began to shut down to contain the spread of COVID-19 in March 2020, UNESCO, as I think many of you here know, brought 73 governments together, of course, via video conference, to step up the emergency response and share strategies to minimize learning disruptions across the world. One of the key issues that ministers from around the globe agreed on was the need for a new dynamic of partnership to infuse how we deliver education. We need to do things differently. The Global Education Coalition, which UNESCO launched soon after this meeting, mobilizes now around 180 partners from the United Nations family, civil society, academia, and the private sector. It's enabling organizations, each organization, to bring their particular expertise and experience to the table in order to catalyze cooperation for the benefit of education systems worldwide. This is really the first time that such a wide group of stakeholders have joined forces behind the common cause of education. And UNESCO is very proud that AASU stepped up to participate in this movement from very early on. From the outset, the coalition identified gender equality as a flagship area for action, and AASU was on board. And I'm really pleased to say that we've started to see the impact of our collaboration. I mean, we just heard a short story then. Our Keeping Girls in the Picture advocacy campaign sent the message around the world with the message that girls must keep learning during the school closures and re-enroll when they safely open. The AASU's role in taking this global campaign to 29 countries in Africa, that's really amazing, through youth networks has been critical. Your efforts have helped us to ensure that this advocacy campaign was able to reach 400 million people across the world. UNESCO, together with a range of different partners, such as now we're working with the African Union, are taking this campaign, contextualizing it, and rolling it out in communities across the continent. And you're playing a very important role in this. In addition to advocacy actions, together with some coalition members, UNESCO is also building stronger evidence and data to inform the education system responses to the pandemic. And I heard a reference to the report earlier. So we just published a global study on the gendered impact of the COVID-19 school closures, which is called When Schools Shut. I'll put it into the chat afterwards so that you can have a look. So this study exposes the failure of most COVID responses to take into account gender considerations. It showed that many children in poorer contexts have had less time to study while schools are closed. Girls, because they often have domestic chores to deal with, as you know, and boys, because they have to often make up for their families' dire financial straits by earning money. Because they often didn't have access to mobile phones and computers, girls were also often less likely to be able to participate in remote learning that took place online. Our study also found that the shift to remote learning meant that schools across the world felt that they were forced to focus on foundational skills like reading comprehension and mathematics, which everyone will agree is important. But unfortunately, subjects like comprehensive sexuality education, which I'm sure you'll also agree with me are critical for young people, were neglected. Beyond the education sector, our study found that the closures had an impact on children's health, well-being, and protection. In particular, and this may have impacted on many of you, a deterioration of mental health outcomes, including among LGBTI learners who reported particularly high levels of isolation and anxiety. When Schools Shut calls on the education community to tackle declining participation and return to school rates in vulnerable communities by applying a gender lens to policies and programs, to remember to take these issues into consideration. The Global Education Coalition is also making targeted and concrete interventions aimed at increasing access to learning opportunities, particularly for vulnerable learners and especially girls. For instance, we're working with partners to run hackathons that include digital skills, entrepreneurship, and leadership training. And an essential part of these programs is matching learners with mentors who have professional experience. And in this way, actually, both the learners and the mentors can grow together. And this is what I'd like to close my remarks to you today with. I think a higher education experience can sometimes be a lonely and in fact, even a competitive process. You often feel like you have to compete with other students to get a place at university, to get the best marks, to secure jobs in the most sought after sectors. It can sometimes be tempting to think that by going it alone and by destroying the competition, you can come out on top. But my experience is that success is not a zero-sum game. The best way to help yourself is by working together with others so that all of us can be lifted together. And as you are the change makers of today and of tomorrow, I'm calling on you to join UNESCO in this effort. Your participation in AASU's work shows that you're eager to make a difference and that you've understood that collaboration is the way to build a more equitable and sustainable world that benefits all of us. We, UNESCO, the world, need your fresh ideas and your ambition. I call on you to be confident and daring, to innovate, to make alliances. By building on the skills that you've developed through your studies and your participation in the campaign and the rest of AASU's work, by continuing to collaborate with and also to mentor your peers, by committing to bring an activist and entrepreneurial mindset to using what you learn, you can spark lasting transformation. Thank you again for inviting me here, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCormick, for that wonderful remarks from UNESCO. It's quite interesting to have collaborated with you on such awesome campaign, such initiative. We know that the impact is being made out there. We might not see it now, immediately, the results that we desire to see, but I'm hoping that gradually, as we advocate, as we keep on advocating, as we keep on putting our resources, knowledge, and every other thing else into it, we are going to see the end result that we all desire. So thank you so much for your remarks, Ms. McCormick. Okay, so before I move to the next coordinator to share with us her experiences and challenges from the campaign, okay, so we'll still play the videos, but I'll go straight to invite Mary from Kenya. Mary, if you can hear me, you unmute yourself, and then share with us your experiences and then your challenges from the campaign. Thank you.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And my name is Mary. I work as the Girls' Rights Champion. I've served as the Female Students President in Kenya. And I'm also the founder of Women Students Mentorship Association, an organization that champions for the rights, interest, and welfare of female students in Kenya. So the Girls Back to School campaign, we launched it in Kenya in October 2020. That's October 31st. So in our attempt to roll back the substantial gain to girls' education, we gave much attention to girls who are marginalized and from rural communities and urban informal settlements, because this population fall in a quantile that is delicate, and they need special concern in the society because they are more vulnerable and they are unlikely to fulfill their rights to education, health, and protection, amongst other rights. For the great achievements we made in Kenya, we made synergies and partnerships with community-based organizations, faith-based groups, and the media. The Girls Back to School campaign was launched in 31st October 2020, where we held a main event in Busia County that we engaged 850 girls and parents, teachers, and community leaders. Activities of the Girls Back to School campaigns, we did sensitization for community members and all stakeholders, including parents, girls, community leaders, school community and government officials on the importance of girls' educational rights and rooted benefits that girls' education has in the communities, especially the rural areas and the marginalized quarter. We also had a lot of motivational talks and mentorship with girls so that they would better understand that despite the challenges and the disruption that COVID brought in, they had to put much and be more determined to ensure that their rights to education are achieved, and that's the guarantee they have for a better future. We discussed also the disruption of education caused by COVID-19 pandemic in Kenya, looking at how female students were majorly affected. And this led to several interventions from the government, whereby we saw the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, in his speech as schools resumed, he stated that all girls from public schools were to be receiving free sanitary towels, as we had noted that period poverty was a great hindrance to girls' educational achievements. We were also able to highlight several challenges during the campaign that the girls were facing in fulfilling their rights to education. And COVID-19 exposed their vulnerability and increased the inequality within the digital divide for girls, especially in remote and marginalized area because of lack of internet accessibility. So with the campaign, we made a great impact and received a live stream from Kenya National Television, KBC, Kenya Broadcasting, and we had several news coverages as well as print media covering our stories. And this led our intervention to reach approximately 200,000 people directly. And also we reached about 6,000 from the comments, tabs, and people getting to view the work we were doing, and thereby creating a wider impact on how girls in Kenya are in dire need of support and protection as COVID-19 increased the gender disparities, putting girls, school girls, at more vulnerable position, and thereby calling for a joint support to help secure future of Kenyan girls through advocating for equal access to quality education post-COVID-19. So some of the challenges that we encountered in the implementation of the project included lack of finances, and as most of our volunteers had to rely on their own means of getting to participate in this campaign. And also there is an incentive spirit in Kenya whereby for every community outreach, there are people expecting that you'd either give them pads, and we had to go overboard and raise these resources. For example, sanitary towels for all the visits we made to the girls, and as well books. And since it was COVID-19 and there were restrictions, we had to buy sometimes masks so that all the girls would come to the meetings without the materials. They were able to participate and be protected from getting COVID-19. So the other thing we encountered was a challenge in fundraising for the event. With COVID-19, everybody was hardly hit economically, and it was not easy for us to get people to support us in financing this project. So it was a bit of a hassle, and maybe with more finances, we would be able to have given a national coverage. Of course, we achieved that through media, but on direct contact with the girls, and the mentorship sessions would have been given a bigger impact to more than the 2,000 girls we reached out to. So some of the success stories we got after the campaign: girls who attended our mentorship sessions performed well in school. We had talks with the school management to follow up on the impact of this campaign. And most of the girls performed well. They were inspired and they went to better schools. And also through this intervention, the Cabinet Secretary for Education committing to ensure that upon resumption of school, all pregnant girls would be given chance to go back to school. That was an achievement for us. And as well, also mothers, girls who had given birth and wanted to go back to school. The Cabinet Secretary insisted that all of them were to be given a chance to resume their education. So this was really a great milestone for us as Team Kenya. And the girls who are our beneficiaries, of course, they also became champions within the community. And during the 16 days of activism, that is last year, The Nation Group media also gave us great coverage and published our stories. And the great part is that the photo captions during the Girls Back to campaigns were featured. So this was really a great outcome for the campaign. So we are actually committing that this campaign is not going to stop, given that this is the kind of the closing ceremony. We are going to hope that we will carry this campaign forward and reach to millions of girls who need this support, reach to millions of parents in Kenya who should understand that a girl is not a commodity for marriage. Girls are not brides, and rather their educational rights matters, and they need to equally participate and achieve their goals just like the boy child. Thank you so very much, and I appreciate the ASU team for bringing us on board and letting us participate and share our inputs and efforts to this campaign. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was inspiring, and congratulations to you and your team. Thank you so much. You've done well. So before I go to the next person, I would like to have our IT guys play the videos that we have prepared, show forth your efforts, to show forth the good works to ensure that this campaign becomes a success. So over to you, IT guys, if you're ready. And before they come in also, right after them, we are going to have our partner for this campaign, which is 100 million. They have been very helpful to us. Right from the beginning of the campaign, they were on board. They gave us the training, they gave us their assistance in terms of resources, in terms of the training resources. So these things were very helpful, and their guidance as well. So we'd like to appreciate them very well as well. 100 million campaign. Thank you so much. But before he comes in with his remarks, the video is going to be played. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks, IT guys. It seems there's a bit of a technical challenge in playing the video. So whilst they sort that out, we'll move on to the next step. And 100 million campaign, Joey Hansen, he was one of the trainers right from the very beginning of this campaign. He has been very helpful to us. And today he's speaking on behalf of the 100 million campaign. So Joey, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Joey, we can hear you very well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, first, just to say it's such an honor to be here, and I want to really express my congratulations to all of you on everything that you have achieved. It's just so impressive to see your achievements and the effort and commitment that you've put into this campaign. It was really a privilege for me to kind of play a very small role in conducting the initial training at the very outset for this campaign. So I am an organizer, a community organizer, and was an activist in South Africa. And I continue to work in the international human rights world. Although I'm not formally the 100 Million Campaign's activist training manager anymore, I remain a supporter of the campaign. And yeah, I guess what I wanted to say today is the work that you've done and the images that I've seen and the reports that I've been hearing and has really given me hope. In that we live in such a desperately unequal world where opportunities and resources are so unequally distributed, although we have them in abundance. And we think that, you know, the world is organized in the way that it is because some people benefit. And we believe that those people have more power than us. But I think what your reports show and the way in which this campaign went ahead anyway, in spite of all of the difficulties, in spite of your receiving very little material assistance from the campaign partners across the board. Largely, people took out of their own pockets, people volunteered, they gave of their own time, which is just so powerful to see. And it shows that we can reverse those relations of power by organizing, and that work of organizing was really what the training was about, and is what all of our work is about. And I think there are some really incredible community organizers in this group, and as you say, there is a lot yet to be achieved. We know that governments across Africa were failing on their basic education commitments even before the pandemic unfolded. We know that in a world where we have the vaccines, that we need to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that less than 5% of Africa's populations are fully vaccinated. So all of these struggles kind of come together, and I think the leadership that you all have shown is really the kind of leadership that the world needs, that the continent of Africa needs, and it really has given me certainly a lot of hope in a very dark time. I want to leave you with a quote, I guess, from an organizer who I often use in training, and I'll send you the whole speech into our WhatsApp group that kind of brings us together. But these are the words of the organizer, Ella Baker, and her speech that she gave was titled "The Black Woman in the Civil Rights Struggle, the Long View." And I want to echo what has been said earlier, that we have to take a long view in this campaign work. This is not the end, but the beginning of renewed power and renewed struggle. And And it is a civil rights struggle. You know, we know that governments across the continent have used the pandemic as a way to restrict civic freedom, never mind not delivering on their commitments to basic education, but they've used the pandemic to restrict the freedoms of expression, of assembly, and you know, those, and protest, to kind of raise attention to injustice, as you all have done. And it makes our work all the more important. So these are Ella Baker's words, which she said in 1969, which I want to leave you with. So she says as follows: in order for us as poor and oppressed people to become part of a society that is meaningful, the system under which we now exist has to be radically changed. This means that we are going to have to learn to think in radical terms. And I use the term radical in its original meaning, getting down to and understanding the root cause. And it means facing a system that does not lend itself to your needs and devising a means by which you can change that system. And that is easier said than done. But one of the things that has to be faced in the process of wanting to change that system is how much we've got to do to find out who we are and where we have come from and where we are going. Yeah, and I think the organizing work that you have done follows a great tradition, and a tradition which Ella Baker was part of, in bringing students to the center of political life, where students can join hands with communities, with trade unions, and with churches, with sports groups, and in a campaign like this particularly, in a world that is so patriarchal and so unequal. We have seen the kind of leadership by women that has really that is really inspiring. So I really just want to leave you with my congratulations and the greatest of my support, and I hope that we'll have the chance to work together further in the future. Thanks so much. And that's handing back
Thank you
over
so
to
much,
you,
Joe. You once again for contributing. Yes, so much. I hope you can hear me. The 100 Million team has collaborating with us on this initiative has been quite amazing. So thank you so much, Joey. Before we move to the next person, I would just like to say that when all this is done, we'd like to take a group picture on Zoom here so that we can complete our storytelling. We should let everybody know our success story. So if you're on, don't leave yet. We also have quite a number of presentations to give to our coordinators and our volunteers as well. So don't leave yet if you're online. So I'll move on to the next person, Wendy from Kenya as well. Wendy is a coordinator and she has also contributed to the success of this campaign as well. So Wendy, if you're online and you can hear me, please, the floor is yours. Thank you. And I also appreciate it if you can give your remarks in the shortest possible time. So like 5 minutes, I'll be grateful.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So please, is Wendy on the call? If Wendy is on the call, Wendy, you have the floor to speak. Wendy, if Wendy is not on the call, perhaps can we have Yoliswa from Eswatini? Is Yoliswa on the call? Campaign coordinator for Eswatini. Yoliswa? Or Lungelo from Eswatini. Lungelo? All right, so perhaps we would we want to finish taking the reports from the coordinators, and then we could move on to the next session of the closing ceremony. While we also wait for our moderator, I think he's had a slight internet connection problem, but she will join shortly. Okay, great. So Hilda is on. So Hilda, please take over.
Thank you so much, Adonte, for taking over from me. Internet issues, technology is good, but there are some challenges as well, and can't avoid them. So thank you so much, Adonte. So the next person is going to be Wendy. Wendy, if you're online and you can hear me, the floor is yours. But if Wendy is not online, then we may have to move to the next person, who is Yoliswa from Eswatini. So Eswatini, if you can hear me, the floor is yours. Yoliswa from Eswatini. I think she is also not online. Longelo, if Longelo is online, please, the floor is yours. I'm going through the list. I think he's also not online. So I'll just leave room for any of our coordinators online to share their experiences for their campaign so far. I'll just take 2 people, and then we'll move to the presentation of certificates, and then we'll finally close. So 2 coordinators, you raise your hand, and then I'll mention your name and give you the floor. So anybody at all to share with us their experiences, to share with us their My coordinators, the floor is yours. I can see you all. Don't be shy. You just raise your hand, and then you tell us your experiences and then your challenges. Since we don't have the others online, and we are just giving you the opportunity to speak to us, to inspire anybody at all, to share your recommendations and anything else you want to say at all regarding the campaign. So let us hear from you. Otherwise, I may have to mention. Okay, so I have Hope. Hope Nankunga. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but Hope, I can see your hand. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you. Okay, so
hello,
Hope,
can you hear me?
yourself. Yes, I can hear you now. Thank
you. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Hope.
Okay, great. I want to say a big congratulations to each and every one of the from Uganda, which has been leading in Uganda with the help of Linda Eunice. I know she has already shared our report and how well the campaign went. But I also would want to appreciate each and every one, because one thing for sure is that all that took part in the campaign and are still taking part even in the closing, it was out of voluntary work, the passion and the commitment that we can never take for granted, especially now when we see how COVID-19 has affected millions of girls. However, I have a comment to make to the entire team, of course, since this is a closing ceremony. It comes to you as an inquiry. I know we are closing the campaign today, but also it's at a time when actually the campaign would be needed so much. For Uganda, the schools are still closed, girls are still at home, boys are still at home. Other countries may be open, but of course, we are seeing a very high increase in teenage pregnancies and child marriage, which means that most of the girls will never be able to achieve their dreams. And therefore, there is a lot of need to continue with the campaign, to speak to these young people, to reach out to communities, to speak to parents and local leaders, to have mentors on the ground, to continue giving hope and support to the girls so that they don't give up. What I would want to inquire from the organizers of the campaigns, UNESCO, 100 million, and everyone else, is what is the next plan? Maybe it's coming in the closing remarks, but I also would want you, because you are well positioned to front our agenda more than we are. For us, we are just people on the ground. There are a lot of support that is coming out in form of COVID relief, and therefore it would be important to come up and lobby for organizations which have already put in their time during the entire lockdown to run this campaign, so that we are able to do even much more after today, what we are calling a closing ceremony, that we continue to reach out to these girls and still give them encouragement not to give up in education. So that is my call, that I would want everyone else there who has a connection to be able to support these voluntary organizations that have done their best in this campaign. Thank you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hope, for your comments. I think Ms. Mark Omish is offline, but I heard her say that this is not the end of the campaign. So as partner organizations, we will keep coming back to you with more information with regards to the campaign or any other similar initiatives that comes up. So certainly this is not the end. The fight is a very long fight, and we are not ending it anytime soon. So thank you so much, Hope, for your comments.
And
we
just
appreciate that.
Sorry, just to say that, sorry, I'm not online. I'm listening very intently.
Hey,
and
great.
sorry, I did turn my camera off because I realized that you know, there are other people speaking.
That's awesome.
But I wanted to say thank you for the comment. And absolutely, I mean, we see this as the beginning of a partnership. So we are, as I mentioned earlier, we are in discussions with other parts, for instance, the African Union within Africa. We're in discussion with local partners. We're in discussion with, we've received some funding from some donors to try to expand the work as well. So we're at the early stages, but we're absolutely planning on continuing, and we will and do and continue to see the AASU as a strong partner in this regard. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Mark Omish. So you all heard her. One more person, and then would move to our video, and then we'll have our presentations for the day. So any other person, any comments, any questions at all? This is the time to them up. Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear
hello
you.
To everybody. This is Sosten calling from Conakry, Guinea Conakry.
Hello.
The coordinator for the Girls Back to School campaign in Conakry. And I'm really happy to be a part of this meeting. And I greet my leaders, all our leaders around the world. Thank you. And we want to congratulate you for making this program a reality. I also want to congratulate my team. I think some of them are online, but unfortunately, they cannot understand very well the English. They are French people. But anyway, I told them to be online, just a way for me to encourage them and in what they are doing. So we started the campaign in last February. The 19th of February, we launched our campaign here in Conakry. And we launched the campaign in Conakry, and another one was launched in Zerekure, which was led by our friend Maurice Isse. So we thank God for what we have seen. It was the first thing for my team to be really, really engaged in the children's education, especially for girls' education. And they really appreciated it. We had more than 500 girls that were touched by our campaign, our solicitation that we did in different schools in Conakry. And they were mobilized, the children were mobilized, the teachers also were very, very happy in what we did. So we didn't did a lot, but the little we did was very, very appreciable by the teachers and the school leaders in Conakry and in Zerekure. So I just wanted to say thank to ATSU and thank to UNESCO and thank to the 1 million campaign for what they are doing for the struggle they are doing for the educations of the children of Africa. So thank you very much. And we hope that we keep doing what you show us to do. The campaign will still continue. As for us in Conakry, we'll be doing the campaign. Even when the school will be open, we will launch again the different campaign for the girls' education. So this is what I wanted to say, just a short word to tell you thank you for what you have done during this campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honomu. We are so pleased to hear from Deep Conakry. Thank you so much. So I have Mr. Edmond Akuto Bamfo online, and he would be giving the speech on behalf of Miss Angelique Uthia. Mr. Edmond Akuto, you can hear me. Kindly unmute yourself and talk. Thank you. Sir, can you hear me? I think you have unmuted yourself, but I cannot hear anything at all. So if you can hear me,
hello, Hilda. Thank you very much. We are always prepared to be.
Oh, my bad. I think he has left us. I'm assuming there's internet issue. So while we wait for him, the
Hello,
IT
can you hear
team
me?
can go ahead and give us the videos that have. Okay, Mr. Edmond, I can hear you.
Sorry, I
think your network is a bit unstable. But,
I said
yes.
I've decided to speak because in this campaign we have seen hope. Hope that in the midst of despair, young people will rise up, take leadership and ownership of our future. We have seen in Uganda, in Kenya, in Guinea, young people leading the charge to campaign for women and young girls going back to school. We have seen men
Mr. Edmond, I think you have muted yourself. I think you're on mute, yes.
So at what point was I lost?
You can start from the beginning, but this time around, your time is very limited. Thank you.
Okay, so I am saying that in this campaign, we have seen hope. Hope that young people will rise up and take leadership and own their own future when despair is all around us. With COVID-19, reopening of schools became something that we're not so sure of. But young people have decided to take leadership. Young people took the leadership and campaigned that girls who were always most often the most affected when these things happen, we make sure they go back to school. And for that, I commend the young people. They took the leadership, they took the initiative, and we commend their innovation and their selflessness. Like our colleagues from 100 Million said, they did all of these with very little material resources, very little material support, and we congratulate them for that. Today, they should pat themselves in the back. This is not the end, but rather, this is not the end of, this is just the end of the beginning. It is not the beginning of an end. We have seen how young people rise up and lead. And what gladdens my heart further is that this is just the first cohort. This is just the first of a lot of young people leading. And ASU is ever committed and encouraged to work with our partners to make sure that there will be a second, there will be a third, until every girl is in school in the safety of school. Thank you to all our campaign coordinators in the various countries. Particular mention is of the men who led this campaign. It is always often that we see women leading the women agenda, but I've seen Eyasu, I've seen from Equatorial Guinea, I've seen all these men who have led and supported the campaign, and we say thank you to our partners. We'll be coming to you again. We'll fine-tune this campaign and we'll come back more effectively and more streamlined. On behalf of the Secretary General and on behalf of the entire leadership of ASU, thank you all. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sir Edmond. So we'll have, our presentation is coming up, but before we move into the presentation of certificates, we'd like to show you the video that we have prepared for you to show you your efforts, to let you know that everything you have done has made an impact out there. And like Ms. McComish said, about 4 million people are benefiting from all your hard work today. So thank you so much. And let's watch this video.
I've seen all these men who have led and supported the campaign.
Oui. J'attends.
On a besoin de grandes femmes qui sortiront de cette école. Est-ce que vous êtes sûr qu'il y a des femmes, des présidents de République qui vont quitter dans ce groupe qui est là ce matin? Oui. Est-ce que vous êtes sûr? Oui. Est-ce que vous êtes sûr qu'il y a des grandes dames qui vont sortir de cette école? Je suis venu vous faire passer ce message. Lorsque vous prenez nos services dans les équipes,
Thank you so much. Um, Thank you so much. So these are the things you have done, and we can't thank you enough. These are your efforts. These are your sacrifices. These are the things that you believe in. And without that, I know that your efforts have not gone waste. The impacts that you are seeking would materialize sooner rather than later. So thank you all for your efforts. Thank you so much. You have done so well for yourself. Congratulations to all of you. So we are moving to the presentation of certificates, and then we'll have our quick closing remarks. So I'd like to call on the Senior Programs Officer at the All Africa Student Union Secretariat in the person of Ms. Veronica Giagu. Ms. Veronica Giagu, if you can hear me, I would like to hand over the presentation of certificates.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hilda, and good afternoon. Good evening, colleagues. Warm greetings from Accra. Let me first of all commend all the national coordinators, the team from ASU, that is Claudia, Samuel, Hilda, for the great work you have done throughout this campaign. It is my pleasure. And let me just say that your commitment and dedication has been extraordinary. Just watching the videos, hearing the stories being shared has been just amazing. I think you've done so well, you've done fantastic. You really need to be commended. So kudos to all of you. It is my pleasure to present the certificates to the coordinators who have worked very hard and showed extraordinary commitment right from the beginning of this campaign. The certificate you're going to present is signed by UNESCO and the Secretary General of ASU, and it represents an appreciation of your invaluable contributions to the campaign to get vulnerable and marginalized girls back in school. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to congratulate all the hardworking national coordinators with, let's give them a virtual round of applause. And even as I request the technical team to show the certificates. And so I'll mention the name of the recipients of the certificates. So we start with Amran Wadere. Then we have Anne Wakuka. Karen Magak. Jacqueline Okello. Sharon Makoro. Shireen Omondi. Valentine Alusa. Evans Richard Oyango. Mary Ojan. Morris Haya. Angeline Koyo. Kate Kiama. Wendy Aura. Abraham Bato Sumauro. Josephine Traore. Elizabeth Onivogui. Kiki Blessing Gweji. David Ninamu, Alexis Badnamu, Naomi Kaplan Bitier, Jean-Paul Leno, Fanta Wendeno, Jeanette Coley, Malebane Diana Poka, Nakaibale Linda Eunice, Natukunda Nehemiah, Nankunda Hope Ndrika, Motesi Miriam, Sarah Kushaba, Mukuba Victor, Amongin Priska, Winfred Tuhomwere, Izarine Ruth, Jihad Hassan, Lungelo Mtetwa, Joshua Bembe, Lisa Enzalo, Bonisiwe Dlamini, Ekemini Inyang, Mariam Gamal Amine Geres, Nobukoshi Indimande, Gerard Musabanganji, Eustache Ndayisaba, and Gashugi Gisele. So thank you all very much for your great commitment, your hard work, your dedication towards this campaign. You've been awesome, you've been extraordinary, and from all of us here at the All Africa Students Union, we say kudos for the great work. As has been mentioned, this is not the end of the campaign. This is just the first phase. With the support of our partners, we hope to roll out the subsequent phases sooner than later. So you will definitely be hearing from us again in regards to this campaign. Thank you all so much once again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Diagu, for that awesome presentation. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have some time to take a group picture. This is for storytelling. I never know where this picture will end up. So this is what I would want you to do. If you all can hear me, kindly turn on your videos. Kindly turn on your videos, turn on your camera, and we'll take a snapshot and then send it to our page. We'll send it to the UNESCO team as well. So kindly turn on your videos. I will let the IT team and then take the picture. Okay, Chiri, can you hear me? Are we ready for the picture?
Please give me some few seconds. As I think I can see some people are still getting ready. So
okay, so please, if you have your camera off, please kindly turn it on for the quick group picture, and then we'll be out of here. So Chinri, if you are able to get the snapshot, do let me know, and then we'll finally close them.
Okay, so in the next 5 seconds, you can all pose for the picture. You can smile, and then you can say cheese if you want to, so that we see that
Okay,
very
so I am. But you read your video is off, so kindly turn. Okay, so let us know when to say cheese. We'll say cheese, and then you take the picture. We'll be out.
Okay, you can all say cheese now to take the picture.
Cheese.
I think we are almost getting tired of smiling.
Suddenly, I'm tired of smiling. I've been saying cheese for the past 60 seconds. So, Chinri, are we done? Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. I can see some few hands are up. Angie, is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Not
Kindly
really.
unmute yourself. Oh,
Not really. Yeah, we were just told to, we were told if you're in the meeting, you can raise your hand for recognition. So nothing really.
Oh,
I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Okay, you're so welcome. Thank you so much also for your contributions. You have done so well. So I'd like to call upon, let me see who can give us some prayers. Okay. I'd like to call on Kate. Kate, I have not heard from you. Please share the closing prayer with us, and then we'll be out of here, Kate.
All right, Hilda. Let us pray. Almighty Father, we humble ourselves before you. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you even for the campaign that's now being concluded, Lord. We pray that even as we endeavor to continuously work to make sure that girls are not left behind, Lord, that you may give us the grace, that you may give us the, and that you may give us provision to ensure that we work towards your glory and your honor. We pray all this, trust and believe in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
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 Okay, so you send us your emails on the platform. If you didn't see your certificate as well, do let us know. You can private chat Claudia on the platform so that you can have your certificate ready for you. We'll send all you to your emails. Thank you so much for your hard work. We appreciate it a lot. So on behalf of our partners, on behalf of UNESCO 100 million campaign, and then the ASU Secretariat, we'd like to say a big thank you to you all. You have done well. Thank you. God bless you all. See you soon. Bye.